soup. It's a soup that my mom used to make when I was growing up. I come from a really large family, so she'd make a great big pot of it. I've tweaked it a little bit. I'm using some fresh herbs, and I do start with dried beans as she did. And I'll have the full recipe for you at the end of this video. So let's get started and I'll show you the recipe. The ingredients you'll need for your soup is a pound of navy beans, 6 ounces of salt pork, the juice of a lemon, some chopped onion, carrots, and celery. And then for the herbs, I'm going to use parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme, just like the song. And the thyme I didn't have fresh, so I'll be using ground thyme today. And I almost forgot to add to my ingredients about 2 or 3 cloves of garlic. The beans have been soaking overnight, so now I'll go ahead and drain all the water out. And I'll give them a really good rinse. Now I'll take my salt pork out of the package and give it a nice rinse off. This is sliced salt pork, and you can see it's really fatty, but that's the point, because you really want it to flavor up the beans. So I'll just pull the slices apart and give it a rinse. Now the package of salt pork that I bought is 12 ounces, and for a pound of beans I only want to use 6 ounces. So I'll go ahead and measure it out. And I've shown the scale before and I really love it. It's called an Ascali. I just found it on Amazon. 3 ounces. It's just about right. I think I'm going to take that one out because it is nothing but fat. So it's about 6.2, so that's good. I'll go ahead and throw that in my pot. I'll turn the heat on to about medium high. And I'm leaving the salt pork in strips because I'm actually going to take it out of the beans after they've been cooking. Okay, they're nicely browned. I'll go ahead and add the beans and the water. And to the water, I'll add sage leaves. These are just whole sage leaves, if you can see that. And again, I'm leaving them whole because I'm going to fish them out later. This is just to kind of flavor the water at this point. So there's 4, 5, I think I'll put 6 in there. Okay, the beans have come to a nice boil, and you can see it gets a little frothy in there. I just leave that. I know some people like to skim that off, but I just don't even bother. So I'll go ahead and put the lid on, and I'll just let it tilt a little bit so the steam escapes, and I'll turn it down to low and keep it on a nice low simmer. And I'll just add the onion to my bowl with my chopped carrots and celery. So it'll be all ready just to dump right in when the beans are cooked. And I'll dice up my garlic if I can get it apart. one. This one has several attached. I think I'll do 3 cloves. And you can just base this on your flavor preferences and just mash them down. And peel. And if you like to use a garlic press, you could use that here. There's a little bad spot, so I'll just trim that away. I know a lot of people love their garlic presses, and I just don't really like washing them, so I tend to not use them. So I just slice it up. I'll add my garlic right to my bowl with my onions, carrots, and celery. Now I have my rosemary. I'll just use 1 sprig, and I'll pull the leaves off. All you do is pull them in the opposite direction of how they're growing, and they usually come off pretty easily. This one's being a little stubborn. And I just kind of gather up the little needles or leaves like so and chop them up. And the rosemary measures out to just about 2 teaspoons. Now my parsley, and I literally just grab a handful of the leaves and give it a chop. And there's stems in here, and that's okay. They taste really good. The parsley I save for right at the end as a garnish. I put that in each individual bowl of soup. So I'll just put it in a little container and save it for when I'm ready to serve. Okay, the beans are nice and tender. It's been an hour and a half. So now, like I said, I'll just fish out my salt pork pieces. And you can, if you'd like, go ahead and cut the meat off of the salt pork and add it back into your soup. And I'll fish out my sage leaves. Think I got them all. Now I'll add my veggies. Again, this is my celery, carrots, onion, and garlic. I'll add my rosemary. I'll add my ground thyme. This is about a ½ teaspoon. Again, you can adjust the amounts on your herbs as you like. And I'll add my lemon juice. Again, it's the juice of 1 lemon. And now I'll take my masher, and I'm just going to mash up the beans just a little bit. I just want some of them mashed, just to give the soup a nice texture. And I probably should have mashed before I put my veggies in, but that's okay. I'll give it a good stir. I'll turn my heat back up to bring it back up to a boil. And once it starts boiling, I will simmer it for about 20 minutes to soften those veggies. Here's the pork that I pulled off my salt pork. And I'll just chop it up. And while my soup is still simmering for the 20 minutes, I'll go ahead and add the pork in. Give it a quick stir. And put my lid back on. Okay, it's been simmering for about 20 minutes. And at this point you'll want to taste it for salt and pepper. I did give it a taste and it tastes plenty salty enough. I did want to warn you not to salt it before you taste it because the salt pork tends to make it very salty. So I'll add some pepper. And we tend to like things a little spicy around here, so I'll add a little bit of crushed red pepper. Just a couple of shakes. Give it a stir. And it's all ready to serve, or you can just let it hang out and it tastes better and better and better the longer it sits. And I'll garnish it with my chopped parsley. Give it a pretty generous amount there. And I like to serve it with crusty bread and a nice white wine, and you have a perfect little meal. So there you have it, a delicious navy bean soup. I hope you give this recipe a try. It's wonderful for a rainy day, a snowy day, and it makes your kitchen smell wonderful. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.